It's just, I totally get it. It's like, and it's the only time there's an ambulance or a fire truck or anything in my neighborhood is when I'm sitting down to do a voiceover. And then it's like, everybody's like, oh, crime. We have to do crime right now.
I love the idea, by the way, of somebody watching you, just waiting for the moment that you do voiceover work to go and start doing
He's
crime.
in the chair. He's in the chair. Go.
Just a whole team of people. Yeah, at very beginning of The Dark Knight.
They fucking Ocean's 11'd me.
I just, sorry, totally off topic. I just saw a report. I don't know what movie it is, but there's some Jennifer Lawrence movie that I think's a Netflix
Every
movie.
single fucking person is in.
It's unbelievable.
It's Adam McKay.
Is it? Oh, that makes more sense. Okay.
Is good. But yeah, it was like Streep, DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, Kate Blanchett.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Like, what?
Yeah, I just saw this yesterday. Chalamet.
Is it on Zoom?
Is it on Zoom?
Ariana Grande.
Really?
Not kidding. Yeah.
Jonah Hill.
So, just A-listers down from top to bottom. And I like the, welcome back to 3M Affairs. I guess we're recording now, by the way. But I like the conceit of it, which is two astronomers. I don't know who's playing the main characters out of the fucking A-listers. They like discovered a report, I guess, that like a meteor is going to crash into the earth and blow it up. And they're trying to like get the news out, but everybody's like, no, science isn't real.
Oh, sure.
So could be good. And I think they said it was a Netflix original. So
3M Affairs podcast where we literally start our conversations talking about movies. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I saw a trailer for actually on YouTube because we were watching what we were discussing today. And it's with Jessica Chastain, the mother from Us, in 12 Years a Slave. What's her name? I'm not going to be able to pronounce it.
Do your best.
No.
It's Lupita Nyong'o.
Thank you.
Okay.
Penelope Cruz is in it, and they're all like CIA kind of like hot. It's almost like it's from the Jason Bourne producers or the Bourne Supremacy producers. So it's like cool actiony kind of like women, but it's like the trailer is set to the soundtrack of like Run This Town, and so like it was pretty cool. I was like, okay, I could go for an action movie right now. You know?
They're telling you that they're women, but they're also badass,
which is good.
Wait, I'm sorry. Really quickly, just before we get into anything else, I did have an announcement. I'm sorry. There's a clarification. There's a redaction, and I have to set the record straight. Brandon.
Yeah.
A few episodes ago, you recommended Tombstone to us.
Uh-huh.
And in the episode where that happened, which was the Apocalypse Now episode towards the end, you were like, we're going to watch Tombstone. Then I said, oh, that's like a dad movie. That's a movie that my dad would watch.
Yeah.
I was contacted by my dad recently. You know when your parents are like, we need to talk? Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck did I do? And I called him and he said, hey, I don't like that fucking movie. I hate Tombstone. I would never watch that.
Amazing.
And he wanted me to make sure I went on the record saying I was wrong about that. So.
I think even more so. I think
that's kind of amazing, actually.
We need to get him to recommend a movie now.
Yeah, I'll ask him for my next.
What is his dad movie?
What is it? Yeah. So I just thought that was very funny, also very terrifying. Because it's never also, like just call. He never just calls me. It's always like, hey, call me. Like, call me then.
No punctuation or punctuation?
The very definitive period end of punctuation. It's like.
Do you guys know that, right? Like the period means like bad now, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. The period.
Where
means,
like if you like say hello with a period, it's not a proper sentence or like a greeting. It's more like whoa, am I in trouble?
And that's the thing. I'm almost 30
weird?
fucking years old, and I'm still worried about getting in trouble.
Oh yeah. I mean, but this is why text messages cause problems.
Yeah, this is why no one should ever text.
Of problems.
That's why no one should ever talk. Everyone should just...
That's hilarious, though.
Yeah, it made me laugh a lot.
I do not like Tombstone.
I do not like... He was like, I hate that fucking movie. I was like, all right, I'm sorry. I thought it was okay.
Well, I'm glad that you redacted that.
Yeah, no, it was very important. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. We were talking about fucking Jessica Chastain being a bad bitch.
No, I mean, what's great about like movies like Ocean's 8 and stuff that allows women to kind of be like, hey, look what we can do, is that the outfits and the fashion is always so like spot on. Like they always come in with these like sexy pantsuits and like these gowns and they're like, oh yeah, but I also have a gun on my, on my hip that I could kill you with. Like
yeah,
it's just
awesome,
kind of cool,
dude.
Because like men, it's just suits. Men, it's so boring. It's just suits,
I like a suit. You don't like a suit?
I like a suit on certain occasions, but if I can, I don't know.
Brandon, what's your thoughts on suits v pantsuits v dresses?
I think, as you guys know, my fashion varies heavily day to day.
Yeah, you are very diverse in your wardrobe.
Yeah, so when I like a good opportunity to dress up in a suit. It's even better on set when I don't have to worry about my own hair and all that bullshit. Because my hair is a fucking nightmare.
Why can't life just be like a movie set? You know what I mean? Like people dress you, and
a lot of the times so much of my wardrobe and what I wear is based off of days I've been on set, and wardrobe people have been like, yeah, this is like a style, and then I just go and get that.
Oh, okay, I'll go buy 7 of these shirts. Got it.
That's happened.
Brandon, what would your first like big premiere, like high profile, what would your look be? Do you think?
Two possibilities. It's two possibilities depending on what it is. I'd either go real classic, you know what I mean, like real classic, old school 3-piece suit,
black
like
tie,
really tailored. Yeah, like
double-breasted, single-breasted. Come on.
Single-breasted.
Okay.
And also because like I generally, I don't know, look like a hobo, I guess. So it's good when I clean up and slick down. Or I'd go like the other way and get like a red jacket or that type of thing, or a green
like almost
jacket.
Do like a hobo couture, almost like make it a fashion.
Own it. Get the
I just more
get the designer hoodie. Get the designer hoodie and like the
I just meant
nice
more like
tailored pant.
I meant more like my face,
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like shave and comb my hair maybe and not be a jackass. So it's the normal things.
I would do.
Can we cut all of this? God damn.
No, never. Especially not this next part. I would want to do what the South Park guys did when they went to the Oscars, which is dress up in drag and drop acid.
But not just drag. They dressed up specifically in like famous outfits that like I think it was like J-Lo and somebody else had worn the year before.
Yeah, and they got the wigs done and they got their makeup done.
Just make it a thing.
Have you ever seen the footage of them on the carpet? They're like tweaking out. They're like, it's such a magical night. It's so ridiculous.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I love it. That's what I would do.
I mean, I would probably go more. I'd probably be more traditional because I do like what Caleb says. I do like a nice suit. I don't know if I would do like the tie or anything like that. I would do like a colored.
That's a bold move.
A colored button up shirt. That's nice with a jacket and slacks and stuff. But yeah, there's a time and place. I would probably do that with a nice shoe, good lines. I would also have Ryan with me, so But
I just changed my mind. I would go bow tie for sure. Black suit.
I feel like
clean,
looking at you, Brandon, you would
exactly what you're wearing now, but a bow tie also.
Hoodie,
white t-shirt,
bow tie,
boat shoes, board shorts, bow tie,
headphones.
And then anytime anyone tries to ask you a question, you go, "Oh, sorry, these are noise canceling." So wait, I can't hear you. No, we're just fucking around.
All right, yeah, fucking around on the podcast.
Hey, it's our platform, and if this is how we want to spend our time.
Well, there are just awful pictures of me in suits that don't fit and put together from like premieres before school. Mm-hmm. So I'm like 20 something, and it's not a good look. I learned that lesson. Yeah. Like if I'm gonna go to a premiere, I gotta clean up and
Yeah, I mean, there's a little for sure. Yeah. You guys doing okay? You guys good? Checking in?
Yeah, doing great.
Yeah. I mean, things are a little weird here in Toronto with Corona and everything, but that is what it is. Bar hours are cut down. Yeah. Bars are back to patios only, so
Yeah,
we're
we're on. I think Manhattan's on the verge. We had an uptick last week, and so we're like on the verge, which sucks because like I had a good week. Kicked my ass. Serving and stuff. So now my roommate Antoine put it perfectly. We are a bar trying to be a restaurant without the resources of a restaurant. So like the item, like I have to handwrite all of the items that they ordered for the night to like total
Jesus
up to like
Christ.
then run it, because we don't have a POS system, because usually we just do we're just a bar, right? So it's just usually people order at the bar and get their shit. But now that we're like table service, it's and then but unfortunately people still and then they tip like it's a they still tip like it's a bar, so it's like $2 on like a $30 thing, so like it's just like
people suck.
It's hard because we also have people that stay for a while,
right,
and so it's
just hold a table,
because it's a bar,
so
I get that's tough. I'm sorry.
It's hard, but like I'm like fingers crossed that we at least have a couple of months where we can kind of be. I don't think we'll go to 50% like they said we potentially could be going at like November. I think that's like the time I think New York is going to 50%, but like I just don't see that happening. But I'm like worried that right when I'm about to like keep budgeting and things like that, we're just going to like shut down again, which is a completely possibility for this like for the winter time. But I am still on unemployment. I did get partial unemployment. Sorry, little business here, but like so that's good. I'm still in the system for whenever they get their shit together. But like it's just kind of a weird transition. But then my body just hurts all the time because like I haven't done this in like bar serving is like it's an ability that you have to like build up to. Like you have to work a few weekends before you're in shape to like do that without dying. So it was an interesting thing. But I'm really glad. It's like it definitely helps mentally, having that small schedule to like go to. So, but yeah. So we'll see. Like, yeah, I'm hanging in there. I'm good. I'm excited for today's podcast. We had a really busy,
been a busy week.
Busy week.
Weekend.
We just, we got done. We had our Tim Kalkoff on earlier in the week, where everybody can see that on Twitch now. Our twitch.tv/Shame Affairs podcast. The interview is there, and it was good. Unfortunately, sad in my heart, Caleb wasn't able to join us.
Yeah, no, there was a brief contract dispute, but now that I'm back to getting paid the most amount of money out of the three of us, I can come back on the show. And
look, we just didn't want to have a caller daddy situation, so we all had to sit down and just talk it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was unhappy because I feel I don't want to keep doing this bit.
Yeah, it's not a good bit.
It's a bad bit. None of us are getting paid.
Yet, hopefully.
Yeah, no, I was sad to miss it. I don't know. Well, I don't know how deep you guys got into the movie.
Very,
very deep.
We talked a lot moments and things like that, and Tim was very generous in talking about the writer and his script and how he got the role and like what kind of how the director filmed it. There are moments. Yeah. What did you think of it?
I liked it. I definitely him being Tim and I think her name's Sarah the lead actress. Yeah. I was particularly impressed by. I thought they were 100%. I was like, okay, these guys can like carry a fucking movie. They were incredible.
And then so it was. I mean, we got to ask him very specifically, about certain moments. The scene at the end, right when he breaks that real moment. We got we thought it was very interesting going through with him beat by beat and how they filmed it. Exactly what the director was doing. He was saying how first take they did the slaps. Obviously, that helped him with everything. Mm-hmm. Second take, the director told the other guy to go up and hug him. Damn. And just threw him off.
And so it was like, what the hell's going on?
What the hell's going on? Third take, slap again, and that was the take.
Damn. That's
and
cool.
It's just like, right? Amazing.
And this was Ophir's debut feature film, back in 2017.
I read a little bit about the production. It's fucking crazy how, I don't know if you guys got into this too. I'm sure you did, but how he applied for like all these grants and all these
Yeah.
programs and got rejected from fucking everyone until
Yep.
Jerusalem Film Board, I think it was.
And they only
was
gave
like,
$90,000,
and which is like not a lot of money, you know, for a
Just
feature film.
Nothing.
So the fact that, you know, he went through all of that and didn't give up, got his money, got to make the movie that he made. And it came out like pretty decent. Like there's some stuff I didn't like about it, but I think like contextually, I thought it was, you know, a really great first feature. And there were lots, like you said, Brian, there were lots of moments I really liked.
And then even what we were talking about, the production quality of it.
I wouldn't have guessed it was only 90 grand. Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, so me and Josh talked about this like even before the podcast last time, because I even came on and was like, dude, I can't believe that movie only cost $900,000. That's crazy. And Josh is like, no, you're adding a zero, 90. I'm like, no, I was like, there's no way they shot that for 90. And he was like, look it up. And it's like they shot, like it's unbelievable to make a movie that looks that good, that professional, for 90 grand. I mean, I'd be surprised if people are not throwing money at him to make more movies.
Yeah, you get to see what he can do with literally no money.
Yeah.
Because like
I mean,
there are some of the, I mean, like the lowest budget indie movies are still made for $1 million. So like the fact that like
exactly
less than fucking, you know,
like this is way less than those like we're gonna get a YouTube star movies and just throw that out. Like this is way less than the amount of money that a movie like that got.
He talked about how, especially with the kiss scene, he said that he kept stopping him before the kiss because the time they kissed on film, well, that's the first time they've ever kissed. They didn't rehearse much or whatever. They
I mean, I believe that because he looked really fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah,
in character. I mean,
yeah,
but
and I think
crazy.
in reading like the critics, what they said about it and stuff like that is in going back, because I think I saw it twice, and it's still that slap and that cathartic, just like, because I'm like, bitch, you just got to tell her, and then the way the director pieced it together and edited it, like with doing like the flashbacks, getting more of the Oren and Thomas's relationship, but towards the end and not like all at the beginning. I thought it was very interesting, and like it obviously. People enjoyed enough. It was Israel's official selection to be considered for foreign film.
Yeah, I don't think it was shortlisted, but it
was in the running.
But Israel was like, yeah, this one, which is so interesting because the core of it is, and that's something I didn't even fucking think about, like because I'm a dumbass. But when I was like reading about it, it was like, oh, he's a German who goes to Israel. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Not thinking about the wider implications of what that meant at all until they brought it up in the movie. I was like, oh, I understand. I'm just fucking stupid. Obviously, that's like a subject that's ripe for this kind of drama, and then to have the woman be like, "I'm not religious," and you can see
the Orthodox and the kosher,
the other people in her life being like, "Oh, you bitch!" Like it was just very, very interesting, and I think again, Tim's performance is like a fish out of water with a big secret.
And I'm really impressed because like he told us at the end, because when you see him, he's a skinny person, right? And he said that Ophir, he had 6 months to prepare, and that included gaining some weight because he wanted Thomas to be boyish, like look kind of flabby, boyish, innocent, whatever. Especially with him going through all the, I don't know if we got into it, like it's the things that aren't said, and we're going to talk about that because I think that's a great segue to Darkplace, because there's a big quote about people who write in subtext, but that like Cake Maker is a movie of subtext of like you just have these scenes with these like Sarah Adler.
I never heard of her before, and she was fucking amazing.
She's in Foxtrot. I need to watch Foxtrot now because that's another big movie that she did right before. Right before, and the guy who played Modi is I think in Foxtrot as well. But her with the phone and the voice messages, and her like not wanting to because she has like the inkling in the back of her head, and then the grandma all kind of like
the grandma's like, oh, obviously this is what the situation is, like immediately because like it's a grandma,
so
they just know everything.
It was great. Hopefully, Tim's great. We have his contact information, so like if we
he was the man.
Hi, reach out.
I am very sad that I missed it, and I'm glad that you guys got to have that experience. But yeah, it's a cool movie, and now that I know that what I know about it too, like the backstory. It's definitely like a filmmaker who I'm gonna like keep my eyes out for whatever
he
does
has a short from 2011. Don't remember that date because I don't remember, but it's called A Prayer in January, and it's a 7-minute short about, again, because Ophir, I think his thing is he tends to go into the Orthodox kind of thing, and then the gay themes is another gay theme, but I couldn't find it because it's only over. I think I need like a VPN or something to try and get it over because it's only in Israel, like it's only in Hebrew and stuff like that. But I was like, I wanted to watch it to see some of her stuff, but it's very hard to get. It's on lockdown because Brandon, you said it took you 4 hours to find Cake Maker.
Oh my god, yeah,
it's
dude, it was a nightmare. There was a point at 2 a.m. before finding it where I was in my garage, and I will not lie, I was like, God damn it, Josh.
Well, because I guess I didn't realize like renting on Amazon Prime here.
Yeah, either
isn't
did
the same in Canada, I guess.
No, it should be. So I obviously use a VPN for whatever and jump around. But you need a to buy like an episode of something on like Amazon Prime in the States or in the UK or whatever, to stop what I'm doing, I guess, or what other people are doing. Allegedly,
don't dry snitch on yourself, man.
They need you to have a credit card from there, which I didn't think about because when I lived in New York, obviously I had cards and stuff from there, so I didn't think about it,
Oh,
but
right.
I ended up having to torrent it and things like that, and then the torrents. Or why do I keep saying any of this? I had to look for it online, but I couldn't find it anywhere with the subtitles, which was the bigger issue. So then I had to find the subtitles on its own and
then what you ended up doing is like express ordering a Blu-ray from Germany, right?
Yeah,
that's what
exactly
you ended up
doing.
Yeah,
I actually found
your conscience caught up to you at the 11th hour, and you're like, no, this is not the way I'm going to do it.
This is terrible, and I'm not super frustrated that they made it impossible to find, even though I really wanted to watch it.
Yeah, of course.
And promote it and all that. But instead, I actually I hopped on Zoom with a buddy from Germany who live streamed it for me.
Yeah, which he had also bought.
There.
Right?
He bought it twice specifically for the copy the time that you watched it.
He bought the deluxe edition it says on the back you're allowed to share with up to 4 people.
Oh, it's like a video game. This supports up to 4 people play.
Exactly. Exactly. So we're all good. It's clear. But no, I don't know why they must have some weird things going on with the licensing in Canada, because it's locked. It was locked down.
It is fucking crazy, like distribution rights, how it actually like harms the creators, unless you're doing like a AAA, like a big studio release or whatever, like, and you're getting your movie onto everything everywhere, like a big blockbuster, an Oscar winner, whatever. But yeah, like there's like region A, B, and C, and like they're not allowed to play on any other player. And there's like one, if you have like your movie has like in Europe, it has to be a different company in Asia and America. It's so silly.
And well, because you lose not the perfect movie, but a gem, like something that's like at least sincere and sweet and like artfully made. Like
this
like
is a story that somebody wanted to tell,
and I think people should watch it, especially gay men, in terms of just like that, because we've all been there. Having that love that only visits you once a month, and that you try and go because you're missing that connection and you want to be closer.
It's a very universal. Yeah, and then they die in a car crash.
And they die in a car crash. You have to go, go to the, have a relationship with their wife. And it's just like,
this is a very universal experience we've all had.
No, but in a real way, I was surprised about what the story turned out to be. Yeah. I thought it was much more of a like gay focused story, and then it turns into this whole obviously polyamorous love type story, which was just
very
interwoven.
Fluid, like what is when
well, I think it turned into a more love story more broadly than.
I mean,
exactly, which was beautiful.
I like that aspect of it a lot.
You felt the love on both sides of this character, for both of them.
I was very frustrated because I was like, any issue that came up in the second half of the movie could have been avoided with a conversation. Just like, hey, like, why don't you? And I understand, like, I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, none of this would be happening if you had just not been a creep. Like, if you've just been like, hey,
listen, this is
but it's hard, and I understand, and there's the culture, and then like, as I do understand, like, as soon as the guy was like, you can't touch the fucking oven, I would have been like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say any of this other shit. So like, I understand.
I can't fucking
the whole that all shit, and I'm not making a judgment about anything, but I was just so like, That's insane.
The kosher law and the Orthodox.
Kosher law. Yeah.
You know,
I felt the same way.
You know,
it just was so with the anger and the vitriol, and it was like I was just trying to do something nice. And it's like, yeah, well now this is ruined.
That guy did a really good job too.
He was great. He was great. Yeah.
Also, that was one of the like Tim was like, that's the nicest. He's like the nicest guy ever as well, which like you kind of expect.
They always are. The guys like that
good at playing, kind of a dick. That being said, talking about phenomenal performances that are just rich in realness. So we watched a show this week. Caleb, you want to intro it?
No. The better transition, Brandon. I'm sorry. Is subtext. Talking about subtext and how. Those that write in subtext.
I know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards. that might be my favorite quote.
There are endless amount of quotes.
There are endless. So it was my turn after a long hiatus, and I had us watch a television series from 2004, which is about a television series from the 80s. Excuse me, called Garth Marenghi's Darkplace. Created by Matthew Holness and Richard Ayoade, directed by Richard Ayoade, all 6 episodes.
I didn't know that.
He's a great director. He's directed a movie called Submarine, which I like, The Double. But anyway, sorry. It tells the story of a fictional horror writer named Garth Marenghi, who is sort of like a Stephen King, I guess, or I don't know what a better analogy would be, but he's incredibly full of himself. Has written many, many books, and he made a foray into television in the 1980s with a show called Garth Marenghi's Darkplace. And the show is like a fictional retrospective of that show, where like you get Garth and his producer Dean Lerner and actor Todd Rivers talking about the impact and the artistry of this long lost gem that was never broadcast in Europe, but it did have a brief run in Peru. Guys, I'm a big fan. I've been a fan for a few years now. What did you think of this show? Real quick,
but like they wrote it so that they could change the what is it, like the evolution of man, or like change their
well,
mind?
all he asks is that his writing has changed the way you think about life. That's all.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that he wants.
And it definitely did, for sure. I thought long and hard. No, I liked it. It's witty, it's smart, dumb, but what I was talking to Caleb a little bit before this is like that's why it's good, is because it knows it's parodying this genre, this like B-list class like 80s horror drama, down to like the soundtrack and the music and the bad special effects and editing and things like that. Like it's all intentional, and then it's hats off.
The editing specifically is purposefully, I mean, it's supposed to be a terrible production, obviously. The editing specifically caught me off guard so many times in such a funny way, where it's just people moving around that shouldn't, just shots that don't add up on purpose. And it's just, there's so many funny moments. Like I don't even remember what episode it was in, but there's that moment. It's like the zombies and they're at the funeral, and the zombie guy like pops back up and he's shooting them, and then it keeps switching. But then it keeps switching to Richard Ayoade, who's like standing there beside him, and then it's like a separate shot of him like 10 feet away with a shotgun, and like
just shooting at nothing.
Back, and it's just these hilarious shots that don't make any sense, but are so clearly made to not make sense, and they're taking it so seriously that it was hilarious. I worry though, me and Caleb talked about this the other day, that had I not known that it was Richard Ayoade, who I'm already like a massive fan of, then the guy from What We Do in the Shadows, what's his name?
Matt Berry.
And then, as you watch it, you have Stephen Merchant pops up for a second, and like all these other people pop up.
Did you see Noel Fielding? He's kind of hard to spot.
No, where was Noel?
He's in the 4th episode. He's like the ape guy that they chase on the bikes.
Oh, that makes sense.
He's pissing in the fucking water.
And, the one who's like, ooh, a bike.
Yeah, and his comedy partner, Julian Barrett, is the vicar, Padre, who's in a bunch of episodes. He's fucking great.
But I wonder, right, if I didn't immediately recognize all those people and know their style of comedy, if I had just seen the first episode, if I would have just thought this is what it is and not been able to take it as a comedy. Like if I just randomly stumbled upon this on TV, would I have just thought it was a weird indie flick that was terribly done from like the 70s, you know?
I can probably chime into that because I'm not familiar with any of these people, as you guys are. Yeah, I mean, I would have thought it was dumb, but it was fucking funny. Like,
Yeah.
but the thing is, like, I still laughed genuinely at these like jokes. Like, even the opening shot of Liz walking. Like, I don't know how you do that as an actor, but you walk to the desk and you're like, "Hi, I'm here to check. I'm Liz."
No,
whatever.
she's like, I just graduated from doctor school at Harvard, Yale, or whatever the fuck.
you know,
like,
it's like I would have been like, "What the fuck is this?" And then because it's 20 minutes, you're like, "Okay, what is this?" And then I would probably keep going, but it would be stupid. And then you do research, and then it's like,
I feel like a big
you know?
tip off would have been when they cut to the documentary retrospective and they haven't aged at all. It would have been a big tip off, like, oh, maybe this is all a big fucking joke.
So I just to Brandon's point though of like of being turned off by it, being like, what the hell is this? I'm not going to touch this. If I didn't know about it, is like, no, I mean, I think they're smart enough as creators to know that like I'd be careful of saying this. I don't want to generalize, but like those that have some sort of like background in it, or at least have watched enough TV, or at least have critically thought about a lot of different things, could, I think, pick this up and be like, oh, what are these guys trying to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a small enough.
It's got a pretty obvious satirical angle.
Yeah, it's not trying to be. You know, I
would love to meet the person that takes it at face value, though, and is like, wow, these people are fucking arrogant, and like, this is a bad show,
terribly acted show. Yeah, no.
But I mean, it did take me a couple episodes to get into it, and now I want to go back through it, right? Because by the end of it, I was like in it, and I can barely remember stuff from the first like 2 or 3 episodes.
That's what I told Caleb. Yeah.
Yeah, I it's definitely something like it's got a lot of joke density. Like things are getting thrown at you. Like not only just like what you were saying, Brandon, like visually, like there's so many like visual gags and like editing and soundtrack gags, and then like the things they say are so fucking ridiculous that like a first watch isn't enough. Like this is like the 3rd or 4th time I've like sat through it all the way, like all 6, and there's still things that I picked up on that I hadn't noticed before, just because like. It is a lot to get into. So I think a second watch through is kind of like even better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then like for me, like once I realized what it was, and the dry humor, like you said, it's just them ripping off these random lines and jokes and whatever they can think of in the best of ways, which is like I actively go on YouTube and watch like 25-minute montages of like him on like 8 out of 10 Cats and the quiz shows and stuff, and like Richard Ayoade just being that dry. So, like, to see it in this show in a different context is hilarious.
He's, I think, my favorite performance out of, like, the 4 lead ones, Richard Ayoade, because he's, like... So one thing I think that this show is really brilliant at is you have, like, the frame narrative, right, of, like, these are, like, the real people, quote-unquote, and then it's like, okay, now we're going into the Darkplace where they're playing the characters. They all perform in the show within a show the way... that their characters would act. Like, it's actually, like, really layered and smart. Like, Garth Marenghi is a very obnoxious, like, arrogant person. He's very pompous. And the way that Garth Marenghi plays Rick Douglas, Dr. Rick Douglas, MD, is, like, perfectly in... It's not just an actor playing 2 different characters. Yeah. It's an actor playing a character. And it totally tracks. Like the way that, because it's like, I wrote, starred, directed all the episodes of Darkplace, and you can tell that every episode is designed to inflate his ego.
Like any scene with the kids, where the kids always have their one line and be like, "You're the best doctor. I couldn't, if you need any help or whatever,
thanks for saving my life." It's like shit like that. And it's all brilliant. And I specifically think the reason why Richard Ayoade is my favorite, because as Dean Lerner, he's like laid back and he's very smooth and he's got that big fucking cigar and he's like, I've worked with Lulu and 4 other people. Like he's just like totally clueless. But as fuck, what's his character's name? It's Dean Lerner, and then
Looking it up.
fuck. Oh god. As the guy in Darkplace, I can't believe I fucking forgot. Thornton. Reed Thornton. He just delivers. He's like, I'm not an actor, and he delivers everything completely straight. Like, these are my lines, and I'm going to say everything like this. And then he's constantly like looking at the camera, and then he'll go into his serious voice. Like, I just think it's so fucking brilliant and perfect, and it's like the perfect way to make fun of that style of acting. Yeah, that like you can't ask like a normal person would be able to come up with that stuff. Yeah. The lines that he has are fucking incredible.
You have to have like almost like a masterful sense of what, like, I would have to say, like, writing something like this would have to be very, very complicated, just more complex because of all the, like what you said, the layered aspect to it of making sure that you look at the camera at the right time to give off the effect of a bad actor, but you're playing the actor who's the bad actor in this thing, and it's like you almost have to know the rules to break them, type of like a very bad. I mean, that's a very simplified thing to it. But yeah, it's like you have to know that structure very, 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 very well in order to fuck with it, and you know that they did it very well. Yeah. My one of my things I loved is like you didn't really know who was. They were pretty liberal in the use of voiceover while the people were talking, and like I couldn't tell if it was Garth. Like, was it the guy who was playing the guy who's in What We Do in the Shadows? I forget his name.
Matt Berry.
Matt Berry.
Todd Rivers as Lucien Sanchez.
Yeah, Dr. Sanchez. Was that Barry's voice? Matt Berry's
so
voice?
It is his voice, but all of his lines are ADR'd on purpose. And so he's giving these really over the top line readings. Yeah. And you can tell they're purposefully not synced up correctly.
Great.
So it is his voice, but he's putting it on, and also they're all looped in. Great. And they said that was a choice to have him because, and this is why it's brilliant. If you pay attention, the actor Todd Rivers is an alcoholic. And so he would show up and not be able to like be doing a good job on set. So they had to redub all of his lines, and he does the
I totally missed that.
And that's something that you pick up on with more, you know what I mean? Because it is so subtle, but then like, you know, where he's like, you two were buddies, weren't you? It makes me laugh. He's really brilliant too. And then like, you can tell there are moments where like they'll have the camera on him and his mouth is not moving, but he's speaking lines. And it's just so like when he does his like karate shit, it's so good. It's so fucking funny.
Or when he's getting attacked by the appliances.
When he screams with the iron and he's like, that's smarts.
Oh, I'm down. They're coming for you now.
They're coming for you now. Yeah. Anytime there was a phone and it would just be like, here's all the information that I'm saying. And then they would hang up. They'd pick it back up. Yeah. Little shit like that.
Or there was a monologue. I think it was the end of the 5th episode or the end of the 6th episode before they go into like, you know, the bookend with, the writer, but it's like them wrapping up in the office and they're giving the whole speech and it's just the camera on a plant.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it keeps cutting back to like different static shots at the office because they had to like, I mean, yeah, there's one where it's like, so we lost this footage, but we have stills and we were able to recreate with voice actors. Yeah. And it's just a bunch of like, it's just so fucking funny. And you have to imagine that like, in the actual like real world, when like Richard Ayoade and Matthew Holness created the show, it's like, okay, we don't have a lot of money. So like, how can we use our like lack of budget to the effect? Okay, we'll create a show that didn't have a budget. And then we'll create a retrospective documentary to talk about that show purposefully with how bad it is, but they're so unself-aware. Like we were talking to Josh, like, okay, they didn't have a single shot of a fucking car in this show, but they have, when they show them driving, it's clearly in a blacked out garage, and then it's like an old go-kart skeleton, and they're like moving their hands like this really crazy. Yeah. It's just so fucking like, I don't know. I think it's a really big accomplishment. I think this show is impressive.
But what's also yeah, go ahead.
There you go.
I was saying more so like, but like in 2004, creating a show that looks like it was plucked out of like the mid 80s. I think is really great because a lot of these a lot of things we see, like period pieces or like movies that are back in the 20s or whatever, you always have such a budget to get the cars, to get the costumes, to get everything kind of right, or like historically accurate. And the fact they were able to, without really a budget, to get that level of like 80s horror B-list look and aesthetic, I thought was great. I mean, it was that in itself, because for me, if I didn't know the premise of it, I'd be like, I could think that it was filmed like this is from the 80s, and that in itself, I think is really remarkable, even down to like how they do the opening credits and him floating in the space in his typewriter and and having
this very Twilight Zone
music.
What
was the line where he's like, if you're looking at the wires, then you're a fucking idiot.
Oh, that's
Josh was saying,
he's
if
like,
you watch a puppet show, you're not looking at the strings.
Right, they're there, but it doesn't, those that like pay attention to like the details, like they're not paying attention to the drama.
And it's not even what he said. It's just like, you can tell. And that's what I mean. Like, he's so fucking full of himself. Anytime, like, so every episode starts with him like reading from one of his books, and it's all terrible. It's like maggots. My favorite one was when he was like, the ground below her was covered in blood because she was bleeding to death. Like, shit like that. But I love, when he's like spinning around on the typewriter, he goes, I'm Garth Marenghi, author, dreamweaver, visionary, plus actor. And then when it goes into the show within a show, the title on the text on the screen, it says, it always makes me laugh every time I see it. Based on melodies originally whistled by Garth Marenghi.
Yes, that cracked me up.
Little fucking details that you might not even notice if you're not paying attention. But it's just so good.
What having a whole episode, so they have they're making fun of the pretentious kind of artists, like creators, those that talk about acting in a way that you're just like, shut up, like, you know what I mean? But like, but they go into the whole episode of like Scotch,
which is so brilliant, where they're like, because all these you get these like authors or actors or celebrities or whatever that are like, I'm going to make a fucking statement, like I'm going to solve racism, or like I'm going to solve like prejudice or whatever. And then so the whole joke is like this guy who's like, just doesn't like Scotland. He like hates Scottish people. And he's like, you have to be a bigger bigot to take out the other bigots. And he's like, and he goes and he's like, okay, you know what? I'm sorry. I had a bad trip. I've had people go there. They say it's fine. I'm sure you guys are great. Like it's just little things that it's dumb, but there's a very pointed purpose to it, which I think separates it from other.
No, it's dumb, but it's clearly very intelligent. That's the
you have to be intelligent to make something this fucking stupid. Like Richard Ayoade is a Cambridge grad. He's obviously very intelligent, and like this was born out of an Edinburgh Fringe show, like a stage show, like the Garth Marenghi character, and it was a stage show, and then they got to take it to Channel 4 to make a TV show out of it. So I love shit like that.
I think, that's brilliant. I'd love to see that one man show. Garth Marenghi is like almost like the Ladies Man skit on SNL, like back in the day, like that kind of thing, but for like a horror writer. Like that's what I picture in my head when you think of like a theater production of Garth Marenghi's Darkplace. But also down to like, so it really made me appreciate the fact of like putting like a model of like a hospital or like any kind of set, and then just zooming in on a random place.
They would just zoom out the window on the very front side facing thing. We're like, oh, we're in this building now. I think is so effective, just establishing place. Like Darkplace, and then you zoom in, and then you're in the office, or you're in the cafeteria or the hallway. And
and like what I found really interesting too was, for any type of filmmaking, when you watch something like this and it works as well as it does, and it's as funny as it is, because production and things are bad, I think it makes you realize that you don't have to be as precious about everything, For me at least, a lot of the stifling factors in filming things on my own, and while I'm trying to do things like that, is this idea that it's not up to, you know, editing wise or production wise or whatever is not up to par. And it's just watching something like this being like, it doesn't have to. You just have to do what you're doing.
Yeah, you just have to make it work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you
they did,
have to own
I feel
it.
like. Yeah, you have to own it.
100%. 100%. And speaking of owning it, I would like to segue quickly to the best scene in the series from the final episode.
Yeah. Brandon and I both agree, I think.
What a musical montage.
Yeah, when they go into the 80s song.
Richard Ayoade dropping a rap.
Well, so here's the thing. It starts off like a 80s like power, not even a power ballad, but like a, you know, one of those like power rock songs. With again Matt Berry singing, clearly overdubbed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh yeah, this is like a, and then like
it's
the
about
guitar
his love for Liz, right? Like he's mad.
Yeah,
he
so
can't
like
get
there's
Liz.
the character Liz missing, presumed dead, which is why she never shows up in it, which I think is so they just drop it. It's like, yeah, it's a shame. So really quickly before we talk about it, that is episode 4 has my 2 favorite quotes, I think. And the first one we already talked about was like I know writers who use subtext, they're all cowards. I think that's brilliant. And the very last line is Dean Lerner when he talks about Liz. He's like, oh, you know, it's a shame, you know, Madeline, the actress, is missing, presumed dead. And she was great, but, you know, she was like a candle in the wind. Unreliable. It's just so fucking perfect. But so she's like the butt of a lot of the jokes. She comes in and she's just clearly like, you know, and they even say it's like, you know, like, I like women. I just, you know, none of them want to work with me. And he's just clearly so sexist. And she's like, you know, a psychic, but her powers get out of whack when she's PMSing and they all make fun of her for it. A great recurring visual gag is that I love is when anytime anyone yells at her, it immediately cuts to her and her makeup's all running and she's like crying and her hair's all fucking nuts. But she has a crush on, of course, Garth Marenghi's character, Rick Douglas, and he's like, fuck you, like, I don't care about you. And then Todd Rivers' character, Lucian Sanchez, has an unrequited crush on her. So they have this great bit in the car where she's like, do you want to go to dinner? And Douglas is like, no, I'm busy. And then he's like, I'll go to dinner. And she's like, I have a headache. And then he's like, fine, whatever. I'll put on a song. And then it goes into this instrumental, this great fucking 80s classic guitar. It sounds perfectly in the period. Like, I would believe this is an 80s song. He's singing. And then out of fucking nowhere, Dean Lerner with the bars. Just the flow, and it's like so awkward, but he's actually like not a bad rapper, and it like totally fits in with that aesthetic. I agree, Brandon. It's like my favorite sequence in the whole fucking show.
It's I mean, it for me, and I told you this before the podcast, but I had been unsure. You know, I was like, I'm enjoying the shit out of this show, but it didn't fully click in until that moment. And then I was like, now I gotta go back and watch through the whole thing again.
Yeah.
Like, that was the moment where I was like, oh, okay, you got me.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a cool little it's a cool little ditty to put on, like what Caleb's been doing, you know, every year, kind of like a go through your little journey, you know. I can't believe we haven't talked about the eyeball who fucks the other guy.
Yeah.
And
there's so many bits.
Giving birth because his son is like a grasshopper, and that whole bit of like him playing games with his son, but obviously not letting him win because
he's a fucking egotistical maniac. Yeah, like when it goes to the footage of him. Yeah.
You know, it's things like that. The what you can do just to have fun and just to like, you know, throw seriousness to the wind, but just like don't take yourself seriously, you know? You have to be smart about it, to like what you said, like lean into it, and like we have no budget, we're doing it this kind of a thing, so we have to do it fully all the way, right? Yeah. Down to like even the bad like monkey
commit to the bit.
Makeup, you know, and things like that. And
now these doctors are working for peanuts, literally.
So I feel, you know, like when we create our own stuff, you know, we have to definitely not put them, you know, make it the best to our abilities, but don't put that pressure on yourself, right? You know,
I think it's, I mean, just something like this definitely shows it's more important to do than to
Yeah, because
worried.
they obviously all were having just like a fucking blast.
That's the other thing which we haven't talked about. I cannot fucking imagine what the blooper reel for this thing looks like. I mean, again, they're all obviously hilarious people, hilarious actors. To have to bring it down to these very specific, hilarious characters that are doing bad acting on purpose, they must have been cracking each other up fucking constantly. Like, it must have been a constant break show.
Yeah, there aren't really bloopers for this show that are out there. If you get the DVD, there is an hour of extra like talking heads, like of them the documentary, like they just like of like one-liners of them talking about it, and that's very funny. And then something that I think is really brilliant that they did, there's a commentary, but they're still in character as like Garth Marenghi, Dean Lerner, Todd Rivers. And you can tell, like, with the commentary over the episodes, they allow themselves to get a bit more, like, petty and testy. Like, clearly they don't have a good working relationship. And when they did press for this show, it was all in character.
Ah, fantastic.
So you can go and, like, try to find, like, when they, as Garth Marenghi and Dean Lerner, were doing, like, interviews. And so it's just consummate professionalism. Like, they're all just, like, really good actors and improvisers. So I'm sure Brandon, they probably broke a lot, but like they didn't show that to us,
right?
Because the whole joke is that they're keeping this illusion alive that it's a real show.
Yeah, and I only mean in the vein of how much fun they're having.
Yeah,
not in there like they clearly, if they don't want to break, those guys like Richard Ayoade might be the best in the world at not breaking.
Yeah, he's very deadpan. He's very
sitting in the like awkwardness. He might be the best in the world at that. So yeah, no, if these guys don't want to break, it's just I mean, again, it's their thing. You know, I'm sure they were having the best time.
And they've all gone. So I don't know. Madeline Wool is the actress who played Liz, and I haven't seen her really in anything else. And it's so funny because I just. Matthew Holness also isn't in a ton of things, the guy who plays Garth Marenghi. But I just watched Bly Manor over the weekend, the new Netflix thing, and he's got a part in that. And I was so like, you're Garth Marenghi. You can't be in this serious drama. No, you're you're Rick Douglas. It was just so funny.
How did he do?
He was okay. I mean, like, it was very distracting because you're Garth Marenghi. But he was good. He's a good actor. He was fine. Yeah. He's a supporting character. He's not a lead. But the point was, and Matt Berry and Richard Ayoade have worked together on like everything, like since. Like I feel like they met on this show, and like they were both starred in the IT Crowd together. Yeah. They both like cameo in each other's shows all the time. So that's that's clearly a really strong working relationship, and you can tell when their scenes are together. It's really quick. They're both very like sharp and witty and stuff.
So, what do you guys think?
I love. There's so many more bits that I could talk about forever. I love the quote. I know when he's like, "I got into medicine for the laughs, that and the pussy." Just like quotes like that, man.
Or, sorry, Josh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, isn't there a moment where Dean says, like in one of the commentary about him like hitting children or something?
Yeah, there's something.
Smack one of the child actors.
Yeah.
He doesn't like. He doesn't.
But just on the back of the head. I also thought I wanted to mention like that the bookmarking end scenes of him on the roof all the time.
Yeah.
Which I found hilarious. But didn't that very much feel like there was some inspiration taken from The Room? In the best way.
Oh, yeah, probably. Maybe.
Like, that's what I kept thinking, you know?
It does look like eerily similar to that.
It looks eerily similar.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely... I mean, there's a lot of tropes. You can, like, you know, speak all day on them. And, like, in terms of, like, the thoughts, like, the inner thoughts, the inner monologues of Garth Marenghi or the Doctor, you know, of him contemplating life's many kind of trials and tribulations and what he has to deal with. And, you know, I mean, with his son and then his new son with the egg, but then he ends up beating the shit out of it because it bites its finger, you know, and then, it very clever, very witty, very smart. And I think that's what's, we need more of in terms of like,
Yeah.
because there's like what we had last week with like Grandma's Boy. It's like it's a silly stoner comedy from 2006 that it works for a specific group of people. This one also I think works for a very specific group of people, but I think it's also a different like.
It is very specific. Yeah, I there's probably people who think this shit's stupid and not funny, but
there's more in this. There's more layers.
I do think that there's a level of craft in this when you're writing something like this versus
it's so intricate.
It's a lot of work to make something this the complex, intricate.
The only thing I think would make it better, like I do wish there was more, because like I think there's so much more that you can do with this concept. And I would have really loved had they been able to like get an audience in 2004 when they were airing, and flesh out and like create more seasons. I would have loved to have seen a more direct through line with like Garth Marenghi, like their like first layer characters, like the people who made the Darkplace show. Because there are these little bits of like, you find out about like how, he had this son who died, and in real life, he only has daughters and he wants a son. Yeah. So it's not even that he lost a son. He just never got to have one.
So he wrote the episode to like,
so ridiculous,
to mourn the son that he never had, because his wife was like, Pam, who only gave me girls, or like whatever. There's like little bits of like we were saying, like Todd Rivers, like Matt Berry's character's alcoholism, I think could have been explored more. I really would have liked to have seen, there are like hints that Dean Lerner like kills women, and that he killed Matt, like the actress who played Liz. Oh, wow. Where he's like, I if I were to guess, she's buried in the Eastern Bloc, if she got a burial. Like I just feel like they were setting up like to have a narrative going on, and you can still go, and then like they would continue to make like the Darkplace show and make fun of sci-fi and horror tropes and all that stuff. But I feel like this is a brilliant setup, and I just wish that they had been afforded the opportunity to keep going.
Was it because of the viewer? Like
nobody fucking watched this when it came out.
Yeah.
Like it's, I mean, which is, I get it, because
it was on. They said it was on like later in the day. It wasn't like a prime time kind of slot.
No, it was a weird time slot, and also, I mean, just from what I've read, they like didn't advertise it. Yeah. So like, there you go. But in the States, it had reruns on Sci-Fi, it had reruns on Adult Swim, and it's gotten like a really big cult following.
It seems like it would find a better cult following over here
from people who like understand what they're doing and appreciate that level of work. What we were saying, there's people that are gonna walk around that can sit down and be like, no, this is objectively why it's so smart. Yeah. Like it's not for everybody, but like if you understand the reasoning behind it, you just keep finding those things from those layers, and then it just keeps building on itself. So hopefully, maybe there'll be a reboot.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're all like, they all have like families and shit, and they all have like their movie careers. I would love for them to revisit it though, if to do like an even further.
I'd like to see like a mockumentary style of just now, like where those, the fake actors are.
The fake actors are. Yeah. Well, because in the world of the show, it's established there are 50 episodes of Darkplace.
Right.
So they have they were 6.
Room.
So they have 44 more.
Right.
Up to 44 more they can do. So it'd be funny if like, oh, we just found these new 6-episode batch. We just restored them. Let's do college. Who fucking does?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Ratings time?
I don't know how to like rate a TV show because there are some episodes I like more than others.
I think you got to generalize the season, unfortunately, for a rating.
We talk about ratings all in terms of just like what was the experience that you had watching it this time?
By the end, for me, I was at like a 3.5. I think if I watched it again, that's going to keep going up. Like I started at like a 3. I was like, oh, this is just right in the middle for me, and then as it started going up and up, and then I think if I was to go through it again, it would continue to go up as I dig deeper into this show. I think it's that type of thing.
Yeah, I'd have to do a 3 in terms of a general. If I look back at where I was at after episode 6, having enjoyed what I watched, I would give it solid 3 for me.
I think this is one of the smartest TV shows ever made. I do wish that they had been able to go farther and make more, but I think it's fucking funny. It sits at like a 4.5 for me, I think. And I think if you guys go back and revisit at some point, you'll appreciate it.
Yeah, you've had that time to like watch it a few times, and yeah.
It definitely seems like that is the thing. It's even by the time, me and Josh both said this, by the time I got to the 6th episode, I was like, fuck. Like I wish I'd like started it again, because now I know the characters, now I know what's going on. I like the first episode, I didn't even fully grasp what the conceit was.
What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, like what are we doing? And like so, it takes you a minute, but once so now I got to go back because I missed all the jokes in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But hilarious and so unique.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for giving it a
thank
shot.
you for suggesting it. It is now my turn, and I'm actually really excited the more I think about it, because I'm going hard into the horror.
Good.
The daddy of them all.
Oh no.
I think we're gonna do. I mentioned before. You guys know my pick. This 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, considered probably one of the best horror movies made. I have seen the remake in 2003, but I haven't seen the original. So
we were talking about this the other day, me and Josh.
I'm looking forward to seeing where because a lot of doing mild research, whatever. 74s, I think it's
Toby Hooper, right?
Toby Hooper, yeah.
Yeah.
That Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie helped, with The Hills Have Eyes that came out later in the decade, and like Alien and stuff like that. Like it all kind of stemmed to like influence other horror genre like movies. So I'm really excited it's on the Criterion channel.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm excited to turn the lights off, turn the volume up, make some popcorn, and just be fucking scared.
Leatherface, yeah.
Leatherface,
it's supposed
baby.
to be great. I actually also have not seen it. But I have seen. Who is it? It's not Jessica Alba. It's
no, it's Jessica Biel,
right?
Jessica Biel.
Yeah,
that's
Jessica
right.
Biel.
Jessica Biel and Jonathan Tucker.
Oh yeah.
Oh right.
That's a movie where he must die.
So, Brandon, have you seen it? The original?
No, have not seen it.
Great.
Only seen the remake.
I look forward to a nice classic Halloween movie.
No,
it'll be good.
And it's on Criterion, so I'm sure they have a bunch of other cool shit talking about it too. So that'll be fun. Yeah.
Cool. Be very afraid, guys. Leatherface next week.
All right. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of 3M Affairs Podcast. Find us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else that you can find podcasts.
Yep. Please make sure you check out our interview with Tim Kalkoff from The Cake Maker. It's on Twitch, our Twitch handle at twitch.tv/3M Affairs Podcast with not the number 3, letter 3. And it should be up on YouTube at some point too. And we're still working on getting it to the podcast stuff, but it's definitely there. So check that out. Brandon and I think, did a great job interviewing. I'm getting some information, and probably, hopefully, more to come. So, all right, guys. Next week, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Can't wait. Have a great weekend.